From Boca Raton, Florida, Rabbis Efrem Goldberg, Philip Moskowitz, and Josh Broide are taking you behind the Bima. The BRS rabbis schmooze about contemporary issues and talk to special guests who give a behind-the-scenes look at how they got to where they are and what keeps them going. Welcome to Behind the Bima.
Good evening. It is Wednesday night, 9 p.m. I'm Rabbi Efrem Goldberg, joined by my dear friend and colleague, sitting in a very dark space.
No, I'm
Rabbi
actually just
Josh
sitting
Broide.
far away here. That's
Rabbi
why.
Josh Broide, and we are here to take you
behind the Bima.
We're here to take you behind the Bima for a very special episode, really a 9 days episode, an Erev Tisha B'Av episode with dear friends, a heart-wrenching conversation, which will be difficult, but also really inspiring because they're two of the most extraordinary people, even though they consider themselves ordinary, Bat-Galim and Ofir Shaer. But first, a big thank you. We have two sponsors tonight, and I'm really excited and grateful to both. The first is a tremendous movement called I Was Supposed to Have a Baby, whose mission is to utilize social media. They mainly use Instagram and TikTok to support individuals and families struggling to have a child. We know that one of the most painful things in the world, right? We're in a period of mourning and grieving and feeling pain, and Tisha B'Av people will focus not only on the collective challenges, but on the individual challenges that we've had. And there are a few more painful things than those who are waiting and eager and trying to have a baby, and whose prayers have not yet been answered. And this beautiful organization, I Was Supposed to Have a Baby, is there to create a warm and nurturing online space for those people. There are all kinds of organizations that support with halachic questions or financial support, but none offer the same kind of round-the-clock supportive community where people can find support, conversation. They have a podcast, Talking Away the Taboo. They interview engaging speakers on this subject, and they just round the clock are available for conversation, support, individual support. I Was Supposed to Have a Baby. You can find them. iwassupposedtohaveababy.org. iwassupposedtohaveababy.org. You can find them on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, and they're a tremendous resource. And we hope and pray all those who are utilizing and turning for support will see their dream realized of having a baby, please God, and getting a lot of joy and nachas. So a very big thank you, and certainly encourage people to be supportive of what they're doing, and those who need it to take advantage of iwassupposedtohaveababy.org. Also, tonight is co-sponsored by a good friend of mine, Rabbi Dave Cohn. He's sponsored in memory of our dear Chaver, Rabbi Dr. Brian Galbet, Rebaruch Tzvi ben Ruvei Nassan. Tomorrow night is Brian's third Yahrzeit. And what can we say? Brian was one of a kind. Brian was an extraordinary person. Yeah. And his friends all over the world are feeling that loss and that pain. We think about Brian every single day. Our community is still bereft of somebody who was just the epitome of the best of everything what it means to be Jewish. Yeah. A Ben Torah, a learner, a rabbi, a doctor, a cardiologist, incredible father, husband, grandfather, community leader. There's no box he didn't check. And maybe I could summarize it best. One of our friends in the community couldn't make a shir the other night that was in memory of him. And he said, Brian's neshama should have an aliyah. And then he wrote, actually, I don't think he could go any higher. I think it's already the highest. And wow, what a tribute. And that's true. So Rabbi Dave Cohn was a good friend of Brian. And he's sponsored tonight in memory of Brian and in honor of Behind the Bima. And also, I want to wish him a big mazel tov and really encourage people. He's come out with his second book. His first book was called We're Almost There. It's about patience, a wonderful, wonderful book. I have it. It's fantastic. He draws from his own personal experiences and personal life. He's a rabbi and a therapist. And his new book is called Together Again, Reimagining the Relationships That Anchor Our Lives, put out by Mosaic Press. You can find it online, order it, find it in all the Jewish bookstores. He's a fantastic person, and he really is very vulnerable, draws from his own life stories and the challenges that he's had in his own life, and encourages us how to live better lives ourselves. So please check them out. And a huge thank you to both I Was Supposed to Have a Baby and to Rabbi David Cohn, a good friend. Thank you for that sponsorship and that support, and keep doing all that great work that you are doing. Rabbi Broide.
And if I could just say something about Rabbi Dr. Galbet, one of the great things that he did, which a lot of people aren't aware of, he was very involved in the outreach program. And one of his patients, someone that came to see him just for a checkup, was looking to connect to the Jewish community. And he put him in touch with me for Friday Night Live, which sometimes it's just a one-off. Go check it out. Doesn't work. Right. Okay, we'll try something else. He hasn't stopped coming, and he's been with us for the last maybe 4 or 5 years. But that's not the end of the story. Right before the summer, he comes over and he gives me a book. So I'm thinking, okay, people always give me books to read. They really know me. They know I'm not going to read a book. I'm not a book guy.
Unless there's an audio version.
I said, yeah, exactly. So he said he goes up to Long Island for the summer, and he noticed there's a lot of Jews all over the community. Remember, this guy was brought in by Brian, and he said, a lot of people, they just don't know anything about Judaism now. This guy wrote a book, and he puts it out, free book on how to get just engaged in Judaism. Yeah,
all because of Brian.
All because of Brian. Yeah.
Listen, when Brian was diagnosed with his glioblastoma, which as a brilliant Yale medical school physician, he knew exactly what it meant. He used that time and he leveraged it to try to inspire others. So even as his condition worsened, he would call people and we would conspire together. He'd say, who do I have next? And he would call people and he'd say, look, I have terrible brain cancer. I don't know how long I have to live. It would mean a lot to me if you'd start doing the Daf Yomi. Now, who in the world is going to say no to that? Who could say no to that? So there are people today, 3 years after he left this world, who, however much they waver in other areas of their religious life, are doing the Daf Yomi. They made a commitment.
Amazing.
He made them put a date on their calendar of when their Siyum HaShas would be and invite him. And he really used that to inspire. So a few things before we bring on our guests for an incredible, incredible conversation. Really special people. First of all, Bloomberg Magazine Bloomberg Business Week had a story that came out, I don't know, today or yesterday, that they basically uncovered that prominent people who want to get the word out, want fame, want reach, are paying upwards of $50,000 to appear on a podcast. So I just want to say that if you want to appear behind the
prices.
Bima, I just want to say if you want to be behind the Bima, we'll do it for 40 grand, and we are more than happy to have you. So make us an offer.
We're running a special for the next few weeks until we up it to 50. So
yeah, podcast guests are paying up to $50,000 to appear on popular shows, says Bloomberg. Critics call it payola, and listeners deserve better. Listeners think, I will tell you proudly that Behind the Bima has never paid one guest one penny, nor have we received one penny from one guest. So the truth is, we're even both directions, but we're open. We're a lot cheaper open. Than whoever Bloomberg's doing their story about. We are a lot less expensive, and we're wide open. We're in the 9 days. Have you been to any Siyums yet?
No, but I have one tomorrow night, and I'm very excited about it. It's one of our friends that just made a Siyum with you guys for the New York crew, but he's going to be doing another Siyum. I'm not sure how you let it do a same Siyum. I don't know how that works, but he said he's doing a Siyum.
He's doing a new Masechta.
A new Masechta.
He's got other Masechtas.
Okay, and he's doing it. Simcha is going to have a Simcha tomorrow night where we finally bring the Boca MDY group together for the first time, and we have about 20 guys that are coming. So it's an exciting time. Just watch out, because that means there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be recruiting for the next one. So very
beautiful. That'll be great. That'll be great. It's interesting. I noticed more this year maybe than any other online. You see people weighing in with a lot of opinions and, frankly, a lot of judgment about Siyums, right? Judgment about the type of Siyums and who's making a Siyum, on what they're making a Siyum, what they serve and eat at that Siyum. I find that interesting that in the 9 days, when and it's definitely, you can ask a lot of legitimate questions, and there are some phenomena that take place, which are not entirely in the spirit of the season and why we were instructed. I mean, you, Rabbi Broide, you are so mournful and grieving the absence of the Beis HaMikdash that you haven't had meat in how long?
Exactly. I was debating. I have these Impossible burgers. My mom just picked them up, and I'm wondering, am I allowed to put them on the grill? Is that an issue?
No, if it's a clean grill, you can put it on the grill.
It's
It's clean and burnt off and clean.
Yeah. Okay.
You can.
So I'm enjoying my same vegetarian burgers.
You don't observe 9 days. You observe like 9 months or 9 years.
Yeah.
Because you're a vegan, and you know how you know somebody's a vegan.
Just wait a minute. Just wait 4 seconds.
Don't worry. They'll tell you. So, but anyway, I find it fascinating that Dafka, the time of year where we're supposed to be repairing for sinas chinam, baseless hatred, we're supposed to be overcoming judgment, judging one another. There's so much judgment about the Siyums. I mean, if you don't like it, so don't make a Siyum, or don't attend the Siyum, or don't take advantage of the Siyum.
No one asked you.
Or go to the Siyum and don't eat meat. But it feels like everybody's got to weigh in on their opinion and their thought and their, first reaction to everything. And I feel like these are 9 days, and maybe I'm guilty of it right now in sharing this reaction to that phenomena. But, this is a time that I just see this all the time. I wrote an article this week about, I think the dangers of social media, that it's not just for the ultra-Orthodox or the ultra-frum, or this is not a problem for the Asifa, but all of us need to understand Instagram and Facebook, their own research teams have finally admitted and concluded how dangerous and damaging the correlation between social media and the mental health crisis, particularly among young people. There are real issues that are there. But one of the issues that are there is that it invites people to just share their judgment of everything. And it's like, okay, Hillel Fold, a good friend of ours, Hillel Fold, who was a guest on Behind the Bima recently, he put a post about somebody that he met with. That's his whole life, is just spreading positivity and energy and meeting with people and sharing it with the world. He's amazing. So he met somebody, and people had a lot of opinions about the person that he met with. So they couldn't just to themselves say, you know what, I won't read this post, or I won't like this post. Instead, the comments were blown up with somebody who was off the derech. Maybe there was a prominent show that was produced about their family being off the derech. So people had a lot of opinions about why is he, even though previously he wrote a post criticizing that show, why is he posting that he's with that person? And I was looking at that, aside from feeling sympathy for him, he's such a good guy just trying to do good things. I was thinking, okay, so you disagree. Whatever happened, you disagree and you move on. So you disagree and you just don't read it, don't like it, don't watch it, don't listen to it, don't attend it. Today you have to disagree, and then you have to tell the world you disagree. Comment, you write a post, and you object, and you criticize, and you judge. Just come to your conclusion, disagree, and move on.
It's funny, and everyone thinks that their opinion actually makes a difference.
Right.
And no one's reading their opinion anyway.
You have these, and then people are responding, well, it's this attitude that drove them off the derech. I was like, no, it's not. I'm going off the derech because you feature people off the derech. And I was like, everybody, just take a deep breath. And just, there's got to be a better use of your frustration. Go be Makarev somebody. Go learn some Torah. Go daven. Go do a chesed. Go give stock. Take whatever bothered you and just channel that in a much more productive. So here we are in the 9 days in Tisha B'Av, and we're bemoaning that all the judgment and hypercriticism was what got us into the situation. And it's like nobody could even take a little break from the judgment and hypercriticism.
And we're trying to figure out ways where we could still eat meat. Now, again, I have no problem with people that eat meat, but it's kind of funny that, and I grew up in the world where you go to summer camp and every night there just happens to be a siyum. And the siyums there, I mean, again, let's just call it for what it is. It's kind of like, I'm going to say, I don't want to offend anyone, but I mean, it's no one's listening. There's one guy in the front that's over the microphone.
But Rabbi Broide, here's the point, right? That so you could say that's not for me. I don't want to participate, or I'm not gonna host such a siyum. But for the people doing that, so at least if they're looking for some legal loophole, or if they're looking to bend a corner, they're doing it through Torah learning. Isn't that great?
Right. That's great. If it encourages learning.
What would Eli Stefanski say?
Eli Stefanski would say, let's get these guys learning. I don't know if is it.
You are. So let's go up to everyone who made a siyum and say, what happens after Tisha B'Av? You can't just learn to time your siyum for Tisha B'Av. What happens the day after? Start the daf. Here's a free Gemara. Get into it.
Good.
But I'm saying Rabbi Yitzchak Berdichev, right? The Berdichev would say how beautiful the Jewish people, they just can't stand not being together and celebrating and marking it with some meat and wine.
You're right.
So everything in life, you can look at it as the positive. And if it is negative, okay, just move on. Just be like, I'm not going. I'm not showing up. I'm not taking advantage. That's not me. I don't know. But anyway, I was at this beautiful siyum last night. And
I saw a video from it.
Simcha, and it was his first siyum. Yeah. It was his first siyum of his life. Yevamos. How's that for a first siyum? And what he said was amazing. I was not surprisingly, I was really emotionally moved. He said, he goes, many years ago I became a Baal Tshuva, but I was a Jew, came to shul on Shabbos. I didn't really have much Judaism during the week, because then I started bringing my tefillin to work, and I put tefillin on every day, and that's kind of my shul, my version of shul. I still only go on Shabbos, but I put tefillin on at work every day, and that was my. He goes, then I started, at least he tried other dafs, the typical story. Didn't work. He started Stefanski. He's part of your incredible community, your cult, MDY. And he says, he looked at a table of people. This was someone who was on our fly-in to New York. You remember we went 2 days, we met all these great rabbis.
Sure.
So that really drove his learning, that really inspired and pushed him. So he turned to this room of some of the, most intense, consistent learners in the community. He said, Shabbos, I was part of you in the community. Put on tefillin, I was connected with tefillin. But now that I did a daf, I'm part of your community of Torah learning. I broke in. Now I'm part of the community. And he goes, a lot of it's over my head. I don't understand it. I won't remember it. But the fact that I do it every day, he was in Germany this summer, in Italy this summer. He goes, I'm in my hotel room. I'm looking out at Germany. What happened there? I got my daf, my Gemara open. In Italy, my Gemara is open. He goes, I'm part of a community now that I've always wanted to be part of, the community of people who learn Torah. He moves. It's amazing. Amazing.
I love. Can I
Amazing.
just tell you just two quick things on that? So yesterday you were at a funeral, so you couldn't make the meeting with the other community rabbis, the VOD meeting.
VOD.
But it happened to be, it was number 2 on the agenda, and I wanted to take a picture of the agenda with the VOD logo and send it to Ellie and just be like, "Look who made it to the VOD agenda."
Yeah.
It's at MDY. But I said to all the rabbis there, I said, "I don't know if you know, there's this thing called MDY, and it's really taken off." So we were talking about like how we can maybe grow it. Like, what can we do in each shul? Maybe take it a week in this shul, a week in that shul. And one of the rabbis said, he said, "You think someone would actually drive 10 minutes to go from this part of the community to the other part of the community?" I said, "You don't understand MDY. These guys would drive. They would drive anywhere."
You tapped into something.
You tapped into something it's incredibly special. Just one other thing about the person that made the siyum, Simcha. Just to give you an example, how sometimes, we think we're so busy and we're so, I'm a doctor like Dr. Galbert, or I'm in, finance, or I'm in this, and I'm a busy person, businessman like Simcha. He was in the gym once, a number of years ago, and he tells this one guy, it's the high holidays are coming up. Where are you going to be for Rosh Hashanah? And little did that person know that he was the one that originally started our outreach program, because Simcha told him to call me, and we didn't have anything. That was the original Rosh Hashanah services, just because Simcha said to the guy, let's get it rocking. And then his son had a bar mitzvah in our shul, Jeff Miller. So amazing.
Amazing.
Really
amazing. We have 2 very special guests tonight, Bat-Galim and Ofir Shaer. We all remember 8 years ago, the summer that was defined by the 3 kidnapped boys missing 18 days, all of us, the edge of our seat, all of us, our heartstrings being tugged on, all of us, communities everywhere, gathering, praying, rallying, desperately longing for good news and a good ending to the story of those boys who were kidnapped, and there wasn't. But they're, right, Josh, they're extraordinary people. They're just, I'll tell you, we put the flyer together for Behind the Bima every week. We get our guest, and then our amazing graphic designer puts it together. I just send him the name of who's the next guest, and he finds pictures and puts it together. So the first version of the flyer, there was a picture. I don't know if it was from the funeral or when it was from, but it was Bat-Galim and Ofir with very sad faces. He sent me that version of the flyer, and I said, we need a different picture. That's not them. That's not who they are. Who they are, they exude a smile, positivity. They had a son who in the prime of his life was kidnapped and brutally murdered, was missing. Their only son. They have 5 daughters, their only son. And who they are, their positivity. I'll tell you about this interview. The Gemara at the end of Makos, it's a very famous Gemara. It's possible our fact checker thinks someone needs to turn this Gemara into a song. No one has yet, to the best of my knowledge. But the Gemara tells the story about the foxes running on the Temple Mount, Harabayas. The rabbis are crying. Rabbi Akiva's laughing. They say, "Why are you laughing?" He says, "Why are you crying?" They say, "We're crying because it's the holiest place in the world, the holiest place in Judaism. There are animals running there." He says, "Well, that's why I'm laughing, because the prophet prophesizes that there'll be a time that foxes will run on the Harabayas, but there'll be a time after that when the Beis HaMikdash will be rebuilt again." So just like the first prophecy came true, the second one is. And the Gemara ends, Akiva nichamtanu, that his colleagues tell him, "Akiva, you've comforted us." The classic understanding or translation is, Akiva, through your words, your explanation, you comforted us. But there's another beautiful interpretation that is, Akiva, your personality. Everyone else sees pessimism. Everyone else sees desolation. Everybody else sees destruction. And you see already with optimism, you already see the rebuilding. Akiva, who you are, your personality, your perspective, nichamtanu. Who you are is giving us comfort. And I feel like the same thing is true with the Shaers, that this conversation and their faith in Hashem and their commitment to Jewish unity and their desire to make the world a better place, the Shaers, Anicham they comfort us. And, a shout out to my cousin, Rabbi David Beshefkin, this week on his podcast, 1840, had Mirlana Morris, Donnie Morris's mother, who obviously, Donnie passed away tragically in Meron. A young boy, his year in Israel, Shavim, an incredible young man. And Mirlana was on 1840, again, sharing what it was like and her feelings and her tenaciously clinging to faith and Hashem. And I really feel, and I'm saying this to myself and to all of our listeners, and then we'll go to the interview. But I really feel that the Shaers and the Morrises, Nichamtanu, they comfort us. They comfort us enormously. And that's not a simple thing. Through who they are and what they do, they've comforted us. So we're really, really grateful to them. What are your thoughts on the Shaers before we bring them on?
Well, again, it's not an understatement to say, and you know me, I like to exaggerate a lot, but this is no understatement to say that they've changed my life. I mean, my sometimes you're on a certain path and things kind of just happen at a certain moment in time, and all different paths kind of converge. it's become almost like a life's mission, I guess, to work on this unity project that really got started with them. So everything I'm doing right now is really because of what they inspired. So it's very personal.
What is the Unity Prize, and why? Who was the first community to win it?
Well, first community in the entire world was right here. We just happened to have.
Oh,
they just happens to.
How would you compare the Oscar or the Academy Awards with?
There is no comparison. And again, you can see here. I mean, it's inspired by the three boys. It's got the three faces, so to speak, on the prize, and it's got our community's name on the bottom. And I think that where we've been successful in terms of bringing leadership together, you've been one to challenge me, and you've always said, what can we do to, move out of the kumbaya and to do something, like take that experience and bring it to something, make it even more real. So I've taken your challenge, and I think we've got something very special. We're going to launch in September 13th, but no one will know about it. This is exactly the opposite type of event where I'm not promoting it. It's a VIP. No one's going to know about it in advance. We're going to have a huge film crew that's going to be filming everything, so you'll capture it. Everyone will find out after the event, not before.
That's very non-Josh Brody-esque.
Undisclosed location, and
wow,
you'll see. Revolution is coming.
Wow, amazing. All right, well, here we go. It truly is a great zchut. It's a great privilege and an honor to be joined by Bat-Galim and Ofir Shaer, who are good friends of our community, of me and Rabbi Broide. We haven't seen you in way too long, but every time we interact, we are inspired, and to be around your smiles and your positivity. Thank you so much for letting us go behind the Bima with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you to you.
So it's wonderful to see you, and all of us know and remember 8 summers ago, forever etched in our minds and our memories, when the 3 boys, when Naftali, Gil-ad, and Eyal were kidnapped and were taken, those 18 days where Jewish community around the world, and it wasn't only the Jewish community, it was all decent people who were gathering and praying and advocating and fighting and hoping. And there was a unity among the Jewish people I don't know that I ever experienced in my lifetime, where there was nothing that divided us because our children were missing. It was unbearably painful for people who never met your children and didn't know you. We can't imagine what it meant and what it continues to mean to you, and of course, how it resulted and what happened. And as we reflect 8 years later, this is Churban, as we're in the 9 days and about to be at Tisha B'Av, where we're recognizing what it means, even though the Jewish people are back in our homeland in Israel, and we have sovereignty and we have control, but there's still Churban, there's still exile, there's still a darkness that such a thing could take place and could happen. So it's probably, we know it's difficult and maybe unbearably painful to continue to talk about and to remember those dark times. We'll focus on the light that you've created since then. But if we could go back 8 years just a little bit, to share with us that summer, and does it continue each year to impact your Tisha B'Av? When you think about the keynote, about the destruction and the loss, is this episode for you part of a connection to Tisha B'Av and the Avelut?
Okay, so I will share. I think it's a big question how we can feel connected to the Churban, because we don't know the Mikdash, we don't remember the Mikdash, we don't feel the connection from our heart, and it's very hard to feel connected to all this situation. And Chazal say that if you want to feel a connection, you can use your private Churban, and you can use your private things that you have to deal with them. And I think everyone have a lot of things that he have to deal with it. And we also have our Churban when we lost Gil-ad. So if all the year we try to be positive and we try to be strong, I think Tisha B'Av gave us a place to cry, to be in the pain, to remember our loss, and I think it's very meaningful. What do you think?
I can say that it's really something that we're trying to all they trying to combine between trying to make a full life and deal with the missing. And again, we need sometimes all around the year really to be in the pain. It's something that people trying to say, be strong and smile all the day. And we think that there is a very, very important place for everyone, and specific for us in our Churban, to be in the pain. It's something that can help us to continue and to give the place to the pain to continue with our life. So for us, again, it's an opportunity on Tisha B'Av to do it.
It's a very powerful statement. Yeah.
Yes,
Go ahead, please.
Yes, we think that we can miss only things that we used to know. But if I think about our family, we have a little daughter, Maor. Her name is Maor. She's now a bat mitzvah, and she was 4 years old when she lost Gil-ad. So the truth is she doesn't remember nothing. Okay, she remember very, very
few
things, yes. And I asked her and I speak about Gil-ad, and she missed him. So how can she miss Gil-ad and she didn't know him? So I think if everyone and each of us will look inside of us, in our hearts, and we will feel connection to ourselves, to our tefillot, to our thoughts, to our feeling, we can miss also the Mikdash, because Mikdash it's a situation, it's a complete situation. It's a life that everything will be in the good side. All the world will be in the best situation. And I think that if we will understand this, we can miss the Mikdash. We are dreaming about Olam Mushlam, a complete world, imperfect world. Yes, a perfect world. So I think that the same as Maor, we speak about Gil-ad, so she missed Gil-ad. And if we will speak about Mikdash, we will speak to Ribono Shel Olam, we will feel connected to ourselves inside, deep inside, so we will miss also Mikdash. So I think it's very similar.
It's a very powerful insight. Both of you, each of you shared. What a beautiful metaphor for how we can miss something we didn't know just because we know how precious it was, and people that we love miss it, so we know we should too. And Ofir, your insight that sometimes pain is comforting because it reminds you that you had something that you lost. If you didn't feel pain, it would mean you were never connected. So even that pain, not only on Tisha B'Av, but around the year, reminds you how special Gil-ad was. I first met you shortly after you got up from the Shiva. Our mutual dear friend, Rabbi Shai Shechter, was an extraordinary person who I know you are so close with, made that introduction. And I came with a group of Rabbanim, and we came to meet with the families who had experienced the loss, and we sat in your home. And what a bracha it has been for us. My children have been to you for Shabbat. What a bracha and what an inspiration. But your home was transformed even during those 18 days. While the boys were missing, and while Operation Brother's Keeper was taking place, and while Jews around the world were just piling into shuls and davening and hoping. Could you describe what your home was turned into? What was that atmosphere while you were waiting and while you were hoping?
Okay, so I can remember it was on Motei Shabbat. Our neighbor told us, Am Israel is coming to your home to be with you. Can you open your home for this? And Ofir and me, we looked one each other, and for a few minutes we just understand and felt that this is the right way to deal with all this situation. You can't deal with this situation alone, and if Am Israel wants to come and to be with us, we open our home, we open our heart, and I think it was the best decision that we have made, because all Am Israel gave us a lot of strength. People and Jews from all around the world, and of course from Israel, came to our home. People send letters, write emails, write in the WhatsApp. Everyone said they are not only your child. We felt as it's our child. Harav Druckmann told, we're looking for the boys and we found ourselves. I think we felt the very special spiritual, and it gave us a lot of strength those days.
Ofir, anything you want to add?
Something that when we try to look back, we can't understand it, because it's something that was huge and above us, because thousands of people from all Israel, and as you said, representative of communities came to our home. There was an amazing audience of one side of rabbis and then soldiers, generals, and religious and unreligious, and it was really something that we felt that everyone want to be with us and to be with himself. I remember that one of the taxi driver told us that on those 18 days, people drive on the roads not the same. They said they rode with a patient, and it's really something that we believe when they told us this. And this spirit was something that we felt as something that we can't let it go. It's something that we felt that if it's with our hands, we have to take it and maintain this unity and these spirits to be continued.
And that's what's been your mission. Rabbi Broide, go ahead.
Wow. You know, sometimes you have these programs which start, and then after a year or 2 years, the annual event just fizzles out. And sometimes a good example might be a program like this, where it certainly hasn't fizzled out. I would argue it's stronger than ever. I remember getting a phone call from JJ Sussman, and JJ called and said, listen, we're doing this thing in Israel. We're trying to get it going all over the globe, Unity Day. So I'll be honest, I didn't know what he was talking about in terms of a Unity Day. I don't know a Unity Day. What's a Unity event, and what could we be doing? And I called him back with some ideas, and I said, maybe let's try this. I said, wouldn't it be great if we get all the leadership of our community together to play a baseball game? So it was something I don't even know what I was talking about. And the next thing you know, we came up with this small program, which then following year ballooned and continued to grow. And Yemir Hashem, I don't even know this yet, but we're hopefully going to let it out very, very soon. We're going to launch, I think I would say it's probably our community, it's probably our most significant unity program we've ever launched before. And it's going to hopefully happen in the middle of Elul. It's exciting. It's big, not in terms of the numbers of people. You came to one where we had, I don't know, more than 2,500 people. But what you started and what you inspired is really just the beginning of what I believe is a revolution in the Jewish world. I think this is, we've waited 2,000 years for something like this to move forward, and relationships and collaboration are happening right now in ways I don't think anyone's ever imagined. So again, it's not much of a question right now. It's more of just a statement, and I guess what else are you involved in terms of pushing that agenda forward?
Well, I'll ask it as the question, which is that unprecedented, at least for me, unity that summer 8 years ago. Your life has not moved on, and the other families. But sadly, for most people, the next news cycle, life moves on, other things happen and occur. We've had a pandemic and Corona. How do you hold on to that unity? How do we bottle it and capture it? How do we make sure people continue to feel it? Why does it have to take a tragedy to come together?
So first of all, I think that when we felt the ability of our nation, we understand that we have this. Okay, it's our DNA. We just have it, and now we have to try to be there from good place in the day-to-day routine. We know to be there when it's strategic time and when we have a war in Ukraine, or when we have the bad in Meron, and we have some bad situation that then we felt each other. But I think that if we understand that it's our ability, so we can try to be there from good place, and we try to maintain this mission. 8 years ago, we have a lot of partners, a lot of as Boca communication community. It's amazing what you have done there, and I think we try to do it with a lot of projects, with a lot of partners. And if we will believe in ourselves, so it's become true. So we have to continue and to remind ourselves to believe in ourselves. So that's the way I think so.
And I can say more that, first of all, unity, it's kind of a word that it's very, very maybe not specific. And we're trying to make this word that everyone can do something with it. Okay, so and again, for us, it's an opportunity, as you said, Rabbi Broide, that your community, it's something that is an example for what we're trying to do. It's from 2 points of view, because first of all, we're in Israelis. So for us, it's really something that was amazing to see the powerful of the Jewish around the world. As an Israeli, 8 years ago, we were like all the Israelis, and we didn't understand, maybe even didn't feel the understanding of the powerful of the connection between Israel and the Jewish all of the diaspora. For us to meet the community in Boca was as a great opportunity, first of all, to see something else and to see kind of an example for an amazing thing. Because I remember that on the event that we have, there were all kind of the population, the Jewish population on your community together,
right,
with so big heart, with so much love and respect for each other, that we say, listen, everyone should see and try to copy it and to continue it. So it's really not something that you say and it's just on the paper or just things that are in the air. It's really that you're doing day to day. So for us, it's a kind of a destiny to try to, give strength for a community like you, and to try to copy it to a lot of communities that can learn from you.
Thank you.
Well,
Gil-ad was 16 when he was taken from us. He'd be 24 today, and we were robbed not just of a 16-year-old. We were robbed of who he was going to be and the family he could have built. Could you tell us a little bit about Gil-ad? Tell us about his finest qualities. Let us emulate him and let him continue to live through our learning about him.
Okay. So first of all, we said it, maybe thousands of times, but I think it's really so powerful for us that there is a sentence that there is a name that you give, that is a name that the father give, and the name that mother give, and that the Kadosh Baruch Hu give. So we don't know what the name that Kadosh Baruch Hu want to give, but we decided to give him the same Gil-ad, really with an hyphen between the two words. So it's Gil-ad, it's a joy forever. And it's really something that year by year we could see on him that this the way he lived. I can say that in the diary that he left, and Bat-Galim wrote it about it on her book. It's really something amazing that we found his diary. It was kind of a miracle that a year after everything happened, the police come and say, listen, we found papers of his diary. No one know that he wrote this, and they know the paper was burned, and we try to understand what it wrote. But we found that near to Purim, I think, he wrote some words so amazing that he said, "I want to live by the meaning of my name, and I can feel it, and I can understand and feel the meaning of my name." So it's really something that was we can recognize on him, because he wanted to bring joy to his life and to his members. He was the person that make all the birthday to his friends, to make a cake and to make a party for each one of his friends. So it really was something of joy on himself. Another thing that was for us very meaningful, that he had a combination of things in his personality. So from one point of view was very serious, but when he studied, but again he make nonsense with his friends and a lot of trips and joy, and it's really something that people maybe try to be very serious or very making nonsense, but he had the combination between them, and it's really special thing that we can remember, and can remember with his friends when they told us, and each year trying to ask his friends, give us another little story from the room, from the Bet Midrash, from Bnei Akiva, and it's like a puzzle that we're trying to get more piece and more piece of your personality to make the picture for us, even that is not with us today.
I missed the conversation with him. He was very young and very deep thinking, deep mind, a lot of question about lives, about what's happened, about the connection in our family, and a lot of fun, a lot of we laugh a lot. He was with me he was with me in the kitchen. We have another 5 daughters, and he was the master. And when we was in the kitchen, we spoke a lot and we laugh a lot. And yes, I really missed him. It's not easy.
Ofir, you spoke about names and his name. My understanding is that many children have been named after him. Yeah. And was there a gathering? Was there something where those children were brought together? What does it mean for you when you hear that there was a child named for him? Is that something that gives you comfort?
It's something very meaningful, but it's kind of a pain with a happy together, because there are, I think, almost 30 children on his name. And a couple of years ago, we make a kind of event around Tu B'Shvat that we plant trees on Gush Etzion on his name, and we gave a tzitzit for all the little children that were 3 years old with the name of Gil-ad on the tzitzit. And we're trying to be, connect with those families. And even 3 weeks ago, another person connected Bat-Galim in the Facebook and told, listen, I wait until now, but you know that my son also Gil-ad is in your name sign, and try to make the opportunity to feel free to tell you. So it's something that gave us.
It's very meaningful. Yeah. Very meaningful, of course. Yes.
Are you in touch with his friends? Are they still in touch with you? Most
of them. It depends. Some of them share more. Some of them comes more. Some of them less. But I think the connection to his friend is the connection to Gil-ad. So we try to continue
this connection.
Yes.
Did you even know that he kept a diary? It's an amazing story that 10 months later, the police knock on your door And as you said, they find this diary. It's water damaged and fire damaged. But Bat-Galim, you write in your book that when you read it, you saw on the page he wrote, "I love my mother very much." And it's hard to imagine a year later, coming up on the Yahrzeit, he continued to speak. They hand you his diary and he says, "I love my mother very much." Did you even know he kept a diary?
No, we didn't know. And I looking for his words after he died. I looking for something, and we didn't find nothing. So I gave up. And then I said, okay, nothing. That's what I have. And when we found this diary, it was like the Mashiach can come, so we will come. Okay, it's the same.
Some sign
Yes,
from sky. Yeah.
Yes, mamash. And I think the special words and the special way that he wrote on the diary to see what he deal with and what he thought about and how he look about his friends and about a conversation and about relationship. I think it's very special. He was very responsibility boy. He was very deep mindful. He had deep mindful, and it made me very excited when I read it. I think he was very special.
I can remember that one of my friends, after his father died, I think in the Yahrzeit, he said, I want to read something that Gil-ad said about the meaning of to be Shliach Tzibur. Only 16 years old, but he said, I'm in Mincha, Shliach Tzibur, and I can feel that I'm the messenger for all the people that praying.
Maybe we can share. I will find it. 1 minute.
It's really something that so young boy can say it that even I as a adult can go to be a shaliach tzibur and try to feel it and to understand it.
Really amazing.
Really amazing.
But Galim, he kept the diary, and you also published the book, which is your diary of the events. What gave you the presence of mind? What made you think to keep a diary as the story was unfolding and as you were going through such a horrific time? What made you want to write down your emotions and feelings? And was it a hard decision to publish it and to share it with the world?
Absolutely, yes. I just wrote in the first year, I just wrote for myself a private diary. It was very intensive year. It was very hard year, very complicated year, and it was for therapy for me. And after a year, I found myself with a book, with a very meaningful, a lot of pages, a very meaningful story, and I have a lot of tovanot, how you say.
Meaningful thoughts.
Meaningful thoughts, a lot of thoughts about what's happened, about how to deal with all what's life bring to us. And then I decided to establish it and to share, because I bring the good side and the good deeds of Am Yisrael that gave us a lot of strength. And I think that most of the people don't know the good sides of our nation. We all the time heard about bad news and how everything is not enough and difficult things. And when people come and gave us a lot of a huge embrace, it was so meaningful and it was so powerful, and I felt very proud to be Jewish.
Right.
And it's not easy, but it's very meaningful. And I think that if you read this book, you can be proud to be a part of Am Yisrael. And this was the reason that I published it, because I think that feel connected to the people. You can feel connected to Ribono Shel Olam. You can feel connected to yourself when you read it. So I hope it's meaningful and.
Have you gotten a lot of feedback? Have people reached out to you about it?
Yes. Yes.
Baruch Hashem, it's something that people really. There's someone that told to Bat-Galim, listen, I put this book to read on Tisha B'Av because he thought that it was so difficult, and it's a kind of a story, the end, unfortunately. But when he finished, he said, listen, I have to read it on Tu B'Av also, not on Tisha B'Av, because it really gives you something to continue also.
I hope. Yes.
Well,
It's really to say all the time, and not why, not lama, but lema, for why.
For what?
Yeah, for what? Yeah.
It's a great gift you gave, because people going through their own challenging situation and their own churban and their own Tisha B'Av, and it could be a child who's sick or waiting to have a baby or looking to get married or struggling to make parnasah, and to be able to connect with someone else's strength gives strength and hope, and it's a great gift. And even though it was uncomfortable for you, it's a great gift that you gave the world, and we're appreciative about it. Going back to that time, I know that you were very thoughtful at the levaya, at the funeral itself, who would speak. And, a national, international Jewish tragedy, politicians, rabbanim, everybody wants a chance to speak. Obviously, I'm not asking this for politics, but is there something you can share in terms of what your thinking was about who should speak and what the message should be? And after, 18 days of everyone praying, people had to tell their children that sometimes the answer is no. Everyone was hoping on the edge of our seats all day long. I remember checking the websites, the news, Times of Israel, every 30 seconds. Is there an update? Is there news? Is there something in? Will the Israeli soldiers perform a miracle? And the answer was a no, which is a very hard thing to teach children. It's hard for adults to hear. So how did you decide who would speak and what the message should be with that big platform?
I remember that one of the things that made I was very surprised. We asked the Rabbi Zinger to speak, and we asked Yair Lapid, and they said the same words, and it was amazing because they came from different words. And you remember?
הריני מקבל עליי לאהוב כל יהודי. It's something that I don't remember who said it, but it was the same words that they said of a praying of someone more, that they both said the same words. So for us, it was something meaningful, that how two persons from so different words thinking about the same thing.
And I think the fact that everyone felt involved, and everyone felt a part of Am Yisrael. So we took not just rabbis. We asked from Yair Lapid, we asked ראש הממשלה, כמובן, the president, the prime minister, and the president. But it was important to us to share everyone, that everyone will be in, where everyone will felt involved and
part of it.
Yes.
Besides the Unity Prize and the Unity program, there was another program that you put together, the Sunshine Program. Is that still happening? And how do people get involved in that? It's a great idea.
Okay, so we try to maintain our mission and to continue with the project. And now maybe we'll share about a new project that will be on Rosh Hashanah in Ben Gurion Airport. We want to send a message to the Jewish all around the world. And you know that you are very important for us, and we really want to feel like
one family.
One family, yes. So we will ask people who are flight, yes, to take with them a package with dvash, honey, and some sweets, and to give it to the first Jewish that they will find abroad. And then we spread love and hope, and we will bless people Shana Tova, and send a message from Israel that we're living far from each other, but we felt very close, and we felt very connected, and we really like to feel like Am Echad, one nation. So we will do it בעזרת השם, ממש in around Rosh Hashanah, Chagei Tishrei. So people who will fly to abroad can help us, and will bring our message to the Jews all around the world. So this is another project that
we called it Connection. It will be, we hope, with thousands of packages like this, and we hope we will get to maybe 80 countries around the world.
Wow.
This is our planning.
We used to do it in Purim, so now we try to do it also
before Rosh Hashanah.
Yes, before Rosh Hashanah. So
it's such a beautiful idea, but what happens when security says, did anyone give you a package?
Yes, so the security help us. It's amazing. Eyal with us, and Ben Gurion with us.
The package will be given after the security.
Yes.
So everyone could be, don't worry with it.
Everything is okay. We think about everything, and it's amazing that Eyal with us, and they help us. It's amazing. Yes, they understand how it's important, and it's important to them also, and I think it's beautiful.
We should set up something here in Miami at the airport, in the Eyal terminal. People going to Israel, we should give them something to bring back.
Yeah.
You
mentioned, Ofir, I want to ask you, you mentioned before in passing, I think you mentioned that you learned through the episode, most Israelis don't know how much the Jews outside of Israel care about the Jews of Israel. Could you elaborate more how you learned that, how you discovered that? And specifically, I remember the next year or that year, you came and you spoke at AIPAC Policy Conference. AIPAC is no longer having the policy conference, but then thousands of people, Jews of every background, non-Jews who loved Israel, and I watched it actually right before we came now to do this interview, and you come on stage and the standing ovation and the love and the parents on the stage, and what did you learn from that trip? Why was that important to address all of the Americans who love Israel? Why do you think most Israelis don't know that Jews outside of Israel care? How can we get that message across, not only for Jews within Israel or Jews in America, but between Israel and America?
Yeah. I think, first of all, that, everyone in Israel, like maybe abroad, have so many difficulties or things that we handle in Israel. So sometimes we forgot that there is another things out of our point of view. So, and in Israel, it was really something new for us. First of all, what we felt, the huge embrace that Bat-Galim told, was really something that you can imagine. I remember for the first Shiva, the phone near to my bed on 6 in the morning, just I took the phone, and someone from Peru told me that he is comfort me. How we get it, I don't know, but all the 18 days and all the Shiva, and until now, we just feel those responsibility and love of people, all the Jewish around the world, for Israel. And for us and Israelis, it was something very new, very, very amazing. So we start to, after we felt it, we start to understand the strategic point of view, that we have to do something with it, that we felt like an ambassador for Israelis and for Jews around the world to get a bridge for it. Because first of all, we want to say thank you for all of the Jewish around the world that give strength to us and was with us. and to trying to make a bridge between the Israelis and the Jewish around the world to feel the same understanding that we are one family. There is a argument when we didn't we can argue and didn't say the same things as in your community. I'm sure that the things that you don't agree with each other, but if trying to make the basic that common to everyone, I think that in Israel and also with the Jewish around the world, there is something that enough basic that we can make something very, very meaningful. So we're trying in our projects, in our vision, to make it more and more people to understand it. And I think it's kind of thing that we have to look forward, not for what's going to be on the next year, but what will be on the 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And we hope, it's a great mission, but every marathon starts in the first step. And we felt that we started.
For sure. It's on its way. Its way.
Very powerful.
I want to ask you what might be the most important. Did you want to add something, Bat-Galim? No?
Maybe another project that we have done in Gil-ad's birthday, we called it Sweetheart. And I think also Boca take part in a lot of community around the world. We ask people to bake some sweets and to share and to spread love and to give it to someone they don't know exactly, and someone he's out his comfort zone. So I think it's also a very small thing but very meaningful thing that people are doing around Gil-ad's birthday, also in Israel and also around the world. And we're trying to continue this connection. I think it's very very important, and we feel the responsibility for this connection. And I think that if everyone will have a connection with one person abroad, so everything will change and we will feel more close to each other. And,
it's one relationship at a time, one effort at a time, one Jew, one heart to another heart. I know you're so focused on the positive and the building and the light, and that's what makes you amazing. I'm wondering if you have any opinions. HBO, the cable station in America, put out a show, a documentary, which started out about the three boys and Gil-ad's voice, because that recording was leaked where he called the emergency hotline to say they were kidnapped. And then they pivoted, and instead of focusing on the tragedy of the three boys, made it about the plight of the Palestinians and told a story about a Palestinian boy. How did that feel? Did you watch it? Is that upsetting to you? Was there any effort? I know that there were a whole group of families from Israel who were victims of terror who wrote a joint letter to HBO about what a disservice they did, how wrong. Were you part of that?
We are not part of that. We are very embarrassed and very sad about this. They took our story, the name of the three boys, and they changed everything. It's not close to what's really happened. Unfortunately, they didn't listen to us, and they use all the things that they have in the media without asking us and without our permissions. And unfortunately, it's not a good example.
Is there talk about doing it the other side of the story?
We prefer to continue because, when you speak about it, you give this attention, and we prefer to ignore it. I think it will be the best way to handle with it. This was our way to handle with it.
That makes a lot of sense. I want to ask you what might be the most important question, the most difficult question, but also here in the 9 days, Tisha B'Av, Churban, people connecting in their own way with their own pain. And I'm asking this for myself. I could pretend I'm asking for other people. I'm asking for myself. people who've suffered a lot less than you, who lost a lot less than you, who have a lot less challenging situation than you, lose faith in Hashem. It's hard to see God's hand. It's hard to continue to pray when you prayed and He said no. And the two of you are so positive and so have so much emunah, and you just exude, it comes out from you, and you're so committed to the Jewish people and to unity and to the message of Hashem. How do you continue to believe in Him after what happened to you? How do you continue to open the Siddur and the Tehillim? How do you continue to daven and to pray when for 18 days everybody prayed and He said no? How could you inspire a person who's also struggling, who's gone through a hard time, to continue to feel Hashem's presence, to see Him even through the Khurban and the darkness?
First of all, you say that we are very strong and positive, and I think it's very important to say that we feel the pain, and we are staying in the pain when we feel it, and it's very important that when you feel sorry for something, so we don't have to ignore, or we don't need to continue as nothing happened, and to try to be strong. We sit here, we smile, but we have a lot of pain in our hearts, and we have times that we stay in the pain, and it's very important to cry, to be sad, to be sorry. I don't know if you know that there are some very famous psychologists in Israel. His name is Dr. Abulafia, and he says that the medicine for pain is to be in the pain, just to feel it. I mentioned that Tisha B'Av is very good day to be in the pain, and it's right to be in the pain. That's because I think that after it you feel more more helpful, or I don't know exactly how to describe it, but I think that we just need to say it, and we just understand that it's very important to be in this situation. Okay, so this is for the beginning. Now you ask about Ribono Shel Olam, so I feel him, so I can't say, okay, if you don't do what I want, so I won't believe you. Okay, so because I feel connected, I feel that he managed the world, so I don't understand why he do it. Okay, so if I don't understand, it doesn't mean that I have to throw everything. And I think that it's very easy to throw everything, and you're looking after someone to blame, and you're looking after someone to angry, and we try not to be in this place. We are very sad, but we are not angry. We don't understand why God have done this. We don't understand why Gil-ad. We don't understand why He finished all this story. Okay, if He wants unity, okay, so He can do all the balagan and all the 18 days, but He can finish it like a happy end. Okay. And unfortunately, he didn't choose this way, and it's not easy. But I understand that if I don't understand, and I don't understand, okay, so I just have to try and to live with it, and to be patient with it, and to try to continue life the best that I can. And I want to choose life, and I want to choose happy life, and I want to see what I have. I have amazing 5 daughters. I have a grandchild. She's 4 years old. She's amazing. I have a lot, and I missed a lot, and I lost a lot. But I try to see the half full glass. Okay, the half full glass, and it's not easy. I think for everyone it's not easy, and for us it's harder. But if I believe in something, and I believe in life, and I said some yesterday very hard sentences to my friend. I told her the pain is so hard, and one day I will die from this pain. But till I died, I want to live and to feel life the best I can. So I think this. We want happy life. We want to smile. We want to laugh, and we try to do it. And most of the time, we really succeed. But there are hard time, and it's okay. It's okay. Life, it's not מושלמים, איך אומרים מושלם? Perfect. My life is not perfect, and I think everyone deal with very hard things, and
as you mentioned, yes, everyone.
So we can. I think if you choose to see the good sides, you choose to see the good things. So that's what you have, and we don't choose what we deal with, but we choose how we deal with, and I think it's a lot.
It's like a wave that you can stand in front of the wave and it will throw you out. But if you know that you have to maybe take your head down, and the wave will be up on you, and you gain strength again, you can handle this wave. And it's really something that, even from my point of view, when I'm coming to the synagogue, to the shul, and to see the empty place of Gil-ad, it's something that it's every tefillah in every Shabbat, but it's something that I can ignore from it, but I can say, what can I do? And that Bat-Galim and I, people ask us that if maybe it's for, all what the Kadosh Baruch Hu say for, it's letova. And it's very difficult to us to say it, because for us, it's not letova. Gil-ad, it's not with us. Right. But we felt, and I think that maybe we saw it in Rabbi Soloveitchik, that say that everything that Kadosh Baruch Hu doing, he know what he's doing it. We don't know what the meaning of it. So for us, that, as we said, it's something above us. So if you know that someone is playing the word and know what to do, we don't know. It's very difficult. We have a word that we know so much on science and medicine, and we're so clever and making so, and suddenly God say to us, listen, you don't know everything, be modest. There's something above of you. And I think this combines that we can be in joy, and we celebrate Bat Mitzvah of our little daughter with a lot of happiness, and after a week we have the Yortzeit. So this movement from pain to happy and it's part of our life, but I think the balance can give us the strength to continue.
The two of you describe yourselves as regular people, but there's nothing regular about you. You say you're ordinary, but you're extraordinary. And we just want to thank you for who you are and for your friendship. And in this time that we're mourning the Beit HaMikdash because of Sinat Chinam, there was hatred and there was division between Jews. You are such a refreshing, bright light that is creating Ava, love between Jews, Avat Yisrael. That's the answer. So we want the Geula, and we want Gil-ad. We want the boys all back to be reunited. And all of us want all of our challenges removed and our tefillot answered. We need to love each other a little bit more and to tap into, like you talked about, that one heart. So we just want to thank you, not just for right now behind the Bima, but thank you for your friendship, for your projects. Thank you for everything that you're doing. You inspire us. We love you. We're so appreciative of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to you so much.
Rabbi Broide, the Shaers are tremendous. They're really, really special people. What was your takeaway? What impacted you the most? Hold on, Rabbi Broide, can't hear you.
I don't know the last time that I saw you choke up on an interview. You really needed a tissue box just to watch and listen to their story. It was so raw, so honest.
Yeah, I agree. And it definitely moved me, the image of her reading that in the journal, thinking that they couldn't hear him anymore, and then discovering his diary, his journal. Wow. Yeah, you think about, and I come back to again 1840, Merlana Morris. You think about the Shaers, the Frenkels. There are people around us. You think about Holocaust survivors. I did a funeral for a Holocaust survivor yesterday.
Right.
One of the early pillars of our community, founders of our community, Mrs. Ijak.
Sure.
She and her husband didn't just survive the war, lost everything. She was in Auschwitz, 14 years old, deported there. Woman on the line who shaved her head told her, when they ask your age, say you're 16. That's the only way you'll live. So she lied about her age. She survived. After the war, she and her husband live in communist Romania for 20 years.
Wow.
He's in prison unjustly 3 times. You survive the worst atrocity in the history of man. You lose your whole family, and you deserve a red carpet. You should never have to work a day in your life. The world owes you everything. And yet, 20 more years of communist Romania, suffering, till they came to America. And at that point, you think they felt entitled? No. Community leaders, builders, and just extraordinary stories. So, you talk about a Holocaust survivor. So I was with the 3 children. We knew Mrs. Ijak very, very well. She's a member of our shul. But I asked the children, tell me about her relationship with God.
Right.
Tell me about her faith, with no judgment. But Holocaust survivors, so you know what they said? They said, our mother always taught us God is not someone to fear. God is someone that you run to with your problems. And that's what got her through the Holocaust, and that's what she taught her kids afterwards.
Wow.
So, you listen to the Shaers, you listen to Merlana Morris, you listen to Mrs. Ijak of blessed memory, and whatever we're going through in life, whatever struggles, whatever challenges, we're down and out. It's not to minimize, or we don't measure our issues against anyone else, but we can tap into their faith. We can tap into the resilience. We could tap into their strength, and I think it could lift us.
They're great people. They really are. They're real, true heroes, and they're so accessible also.
Yeah.
They're just. It's funny.
Yeah,
It was the last summer, or the year before. We were in Israel, and I called him and I said, "Hey, we're here." He says, my one of my children are getting married. Do you want to come to the wedding? So I was like, sure. What where? What time? I'll be there. So let's say it was called for 6:00. So I show up at 6:00. I didn't realize, like in Israel, like a 6:00 wedding doesn't mean you're getting started till like 8:00.
It's like a Sephardi wedding.
It's just like me and them hanging out. And I was like, can I help you? Can we? And then the who's who of Israel showed up. I'm saying they have touched the hearts of people there, and everyone just.
I found powerful their closing words also, right? Because I said, they're extraordinary and they're positive and they have faith. He said, we have times we're down and out. I thought that was really also to validate people. Sometimes lean into the pain. Right. The cure for the pain is feeling the pain.
Right.
So that was big also. And yeah.
Very powerful.
Validating people. It's okay. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to have the moments of pain also. That's also all right. And it's a powerful message for people struggling. And I want to thank our sponsors again. I was supposed to have a baby.org. Check them out on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, or their website. Great resource for people desperate to have children, eager to have children. And please, God, they should all realize that dream of having children. Again, a big thank you. Rabbi Dave Cohn. Play ball together. We learn together. We're in YU together. He's a great friend and a great author. Check out his new book, which is Together Again, Reimagining the Relationships That Anchor Our Lives. Thank you for that sponsorship. It really means a lot to us, and powerful. We are off for a few weeks, taking a few weeks off, and we will be back.
Can't wait to hear all about these stories.
Count up to our 100th episode, but we're going to take a few weeks off first. A little Bein Hazmanim of Behind the Bima, so you can go back and catch up on earlier episodes and conversations. I got several people reaching out to me this week. Bruce Pearl, previous guest on Behind the Bima, is in Israel with the Auburn basketball team. And amazing videos coming out from Israel with his basketball team. He's a great person. And go back, if you didn't hear him, go back and listen. Bruce Pearl on Behind the Bima.
My son saw him. We went to one of the games.
In Israel.
And he goes, I sent you that clip. And he says, my father and Rabbi Goldberg were behind the Bima. That's right. Said he got excited, but you never know.
He did? I was going to say, did he know what he was talking about? Okay, good. Okay, good.
Yeah.
But go and catch up, and then let us know what you think were the best episodes, the best moments, not among us, but among our guests. For our 100th episode, we want to know from you what you thought were the best moments on these episodes. We'd love to hear from you. Here's how you could let us know. You can call 561-247-4757, 561-247-4757.
Operators are standing by.
Operators are standing by. Which guests you thought was the best, what you learned the most, what touched you the deepest, or you can email behindthebima@gmail.com, behindthebima@gmail.com. Amazingly, that address was not taken. It was available, behindthebima@gmail.com. Shocking. So let us know.
Behindthebima.com. Is that available still? No one can buy it. Don't do one of these things where you buy it, then you make us
We
pay
have it.
for it.
We own it.
Oh, we own it already.
behindthebima.com.
Okay,
we
fine.
own it.
Okay.
So you could send an email, you could leave a message, and you will be featured in our 100th celebration episode. So a few weeks off. When we come back, we got great guests lined up.
I can't
Really
wait.
excited to bring them to you. And everyone should have a meaningful Tisha B'Av. We should bring the Geula.
Go
Let's bring the
love a
redemption.
Jew different than you.
No judgment, no criticism, just love. You don't like it, sit it out. You don't have to criticize or judge. Just sit it out. In the meantime, just love. Share the love, spread the love, and with that, we'll bring the redemption. Until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay holy.